When a truly great product comes out, I find myself straddling two opposing schools of thought. On one hand, you've got, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And on the other, let's take what's great and make it even better. So, when Sony shared with me that it was updating its wildly popular HT-A9 home theater audio system, I had mixed feelings. And when I saw it, I had concerns. And then I heard it. And, well, the rest is what this review is all about. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Caleb Dennison, and I hope you're ready for my review of the Bravia Theater Quad. Excuse me, that's Bravia Theater Quad. Theater! I mean, the box has the British spelling of theater, but strangely enough, it's spelled both ways on Sony's own website. Go figure. Anyway, as I'm not British and my British accent is quite poor despite having lived in the UK for 3 whirlwind months of my much younger life, I shall heretofore refer to it, as most Yanks will, Theater Quad. You may also find this system listed as the Sony HT-A9M2, and that's relevant because the Sony HT-A9 was so wildly popular and so outstandingly good, it's impossible to do this review of the Theater Quad without referring to the model it replaces. My goal here is to make this the only review of the Theater Quad that you need, and there's a lot I need to share with you about this system, so stick around to the end because you're gonna wanna catch it all. And since there is so much to talk about, let's not waste any time talking about how I do so hope that you will click like and subscribe and leave awesome comments. No, I think we just need to dive right in. So let's do it. The original Sony HT-A9 was, and still is, an awesome system. Groundbreaking at its time, as a matter of fact. And what made it so exciting and desirable is that it could do things soundbar-based systems could not, like provide real stereo separation, while also providing very clear dialogue despite not having a center speaker, and providing an extremely immersive spatial audio sound field despite comprising just 4 speakers. It was also awesome that the system could be driven by one tiny little box that you could easily hide. And as far as I'm concerned, the HT-A9 only had 2.5 things going against it. 1, the system was prone to wireless signal dropouts in some scenarios. Sometimes some folks would lose sound from one of the speakers. 2, the speakers, while not massive by any stretch, were still somehow larger than one might expect from a one-box home theater audio system. And the 0.5, it was expensive. With the Bravia Theater Quad, Sony has addressed 2 of those issues. The speakers have taken on a new shape, and the wireless audio signal system has been vastly improved. The 0.5 though, well, the price, it actually went up. The HT-A9 came out at $1,800. The new Theater Quad here has come out at $2,500. And that price does not include a subwoofer. More on that later. The good news, folks, is that though the Theater Quad is more expensive, you get more, a lot more for your money here. That extra $700 gets you rock solid wireless stability, significantly improved performance, and far more flexible and decor-friendly speakers. In the box, not only do you get these attractive and stable stands for the speakers, but you also get wall mounting hardware included. The speakers are easier to place, both functionally and practically, which makes this a much more versatile and user-friendly system. Perhaps the most user-friendly audio system on the market right now, because you can place the speakers almost anywhere and it's going to sound tremendous. It feels like I'm underselling that point right now, but I'm gonna come back to that, so don't worry. The Bravia Connect app, which is a required component for setting up this system, while I do have complaints about it, I must admit it is also vastly improved over the prior version. It offers Sonos-like simplicity and functionality. That's a big compliment, or at least it was before Sonos went and screwed up their app, but that's like a different video. And the app is essential because it's what allows the Theater Quad to be calibrated and tuned to offer an almost otherworldly sonic experience in your home, while also enabling you more flexibility over where you can put the speakers, more so than any other one-box solution on the market. That capability is thanks to Sony's 360 spatial sound mapping technology, which, as I'll dive into deeper here shortly, is the truth. Now, at this point, you may have noticed I've called the Theater Quad and also the HT-A9 a one-box solution. But let me be very clear here. This system does not come with a subwoofer. Some folks feel that's a mistake because, and this is definitely true, you really do need a subwoofer with the Theater Quad. But possibly unpopular opinion, I'm on Sony's side regarding its choice not to bundle a subwoofer in the box because A, there are some folks who will want to use this system without one, even though they know they'll be missing out on a big piece of what the Quad can do. But more importantly, B, Sony makes 2 subwoofers that you can mate with the Quad or any of its soundbars. And if I'm Sony, I don't want to dictate which subwoofer my customers should get. There's the smaller, less powerful, and less expensive SW3, and the larger, more powerful, and more expensive SW5. And then C, some folks are already gonna have one of these Sony subwoofers, and there's no reason they should be forced into buying another. For this review, I pulled in the SW5 because it's the superior subwoofer, and I know I like it very much. That said, there are plenty of reviews, including the SW3, praising it for being a very capable subwoofer in its own right. So with all of that out of the way now, let's talk about what kind of experience you can expect from the Theater Quad system and why I think this is the most capable, versatile, user-friendly, mostly one-box home theater sound system that you can buy right now. Now, like I said earlier, you'll need the Bravia Connect app on your phone. The app is gonna walk you through every step needed to get the best out of this system. I mean, it asks about where the TV is located relative to the speakers, how far away the subwoofer is, it tests your HDMI ARC connection, and most importantly, it uses the microphone in your phone to measure speaker distance, set speaker levels, and even more importantly, set up the 360 spatial sound mapping that makes this system sound so astonishing. Now, for as well improved as the app is, it still frustrates me at times. As I was testing, I repeatedly got just a blank white screen as I was trying to access this product. We caught that on video, actually. Also, there are important settings in here that I feel like they're just buried or not presented front and center like I think they should be. Like the sound mapping option, for example, and what lets you toggle between Sony's 360 mapping, Dolby's version, or DTS's version. And then my last complaint, admittedly, this is not gonna affect all that many people, but if you're a tinkerer, one who loves to play around and optimize settings, you may find that you want to restart the control box and start fresh. You can do that, but there's a bug here that will make that process impossible unless you know this one very important tip. If you want to pair your phone to this box again, after already having set it up previously, you must go into your Bluetooth device settings and delete the Theater Quad from the list of devices, at least on iPhone. I'm not sure about Android. If you don't, you will not be able to set the system up. It will not pair to the box and you'll be dead in the water. That's a problem and one that I've asked Sony to fix. But the good news is, that's really all I have to complain about. I mean, the enthusiast in me wishes you could pair more than one subwoofer to the system, but I also admit that the folks who can and want to have multiple subwoofers probably not facing the challenges this system aims to address. It'd be nice, but I'm not gonna ding Sony points for that. So I figured the most valuable thing that I could do for this review was test the system with the speakers placed in as many locations as I could. So I did that. I placed the main speakers up on top of other speakers so they were well above ear height. I placed them on the same cabinet as the TV. I even placed one right next to the TV and one well off to the side. I placed the surrounds in a traditional surround speaker location. I placed them right behind me as if they were mounted on a wall. And I placed them at drastically different distances and heights from each other. I even snuck one up on the stairs. No matter where I placed the speakers, I still got a remarkably immersive and contiguous surround sound experience. Sure, some placement options sounded slightly better than others, but the key takeaway here is that the Theater Quad was able to calibrate itself so well that it could pull off great sound with challenging speaker placements in a way that no other system I've tested ever has. What's more, the main area of our studio here not only puts a good 10.5 feet of distance between the top of the speaker and the ceiling, but the ceiling itself is loaded with sound-absorbing acoustic treatments designed to prevent the kind of sound reflections that up-firing Atmos speaker systems rely on. And yet, I still got an awesome dome of sound effect from the Theater Quad. I really hope that hammers home just how incredibly flexible this system is. If you have a challenging room, the Theater Quad is not only going to be a top choice for a one-box solution, but it will perform better than nearly any other system in its price class. Unless you use a Sony AV receiver with Sony's 360 spatial sound mapping tech to drive your speakers. But it doesn't just offer flexible sound, it's really great sound. The fidelity of this speaker system is open, poignant, punchy, dynamic, and beyond all else, just straight up exciting. It's got grit and grunt, but it's never harsh, nor did I ever find it fatiguing. It's definitely best for movies, I think, but it's also great for music, whether it's Dolby Atmos music or standard stereo music. The Theater Quad will always use all 4 of its speakers, but rather than do the all-channel stereo thing or try to force some kind of fake-sounding DSP surround on you like Hall or Stadium or whatever, what it does instead is use the rear speakers to lightly enhance the front of room soundstage. This way, the surrounds aren't a distraction, they're a simple and tasteful enhancement. The only thing not flexible about speaker placement with this system might be with the subwoofer. You definitely want to get it in a spot where it's going to blend with the other speakers in your system. And honestly, that's not a unique attribute. You always need to search for the right place to put a subwoofer. It's just that if you want the very best blend, if you want to hear a seamless transition or no transition at all from the satellite speakers down to the subwoofer, you want to get that sub in the best possible place. Perhaps the Theater Quad's most valuable trick, though, is its ability to create a phantom center channel through which dialogue and voices are exceptionally clear. The system does a great job of making it seem like voices are coming from the screen, and that's true even if you have the screen well above or below the speaker plane. Sony actually has a setting for the height of the sound field, which does a great job matching the sound to the screen location. It does alter the sound quality in other ways, but overall, I think it's a net positive. That brings me to some of the exclusive features that some Sony TV owners can enjoy if they get the Quad as well. One is that when paired to a Sony Bravia TV, many of the controls for the Quad will be accessed through the quick setting menu on the TV screen, including voice zoom, which makes even the most difficult to hear dialogue clearly audible. So you can have it directly from the TV or you can have it from the Quad. A special note though, if your Sony TV doesn't support voice zoom, you'll see it as an option, you just won't be able to engage it. But you don't need a Sony TV to enjoy the best capabilities of the Quad. And in fact, the Quad can help you enjoy DTS sound if you own a Samsung TV. At one point, I connected our Magnetar 4K Blu-ray player directly to the Quad's HDMI input so that I could get DTS sound since Samsung TVs don't support it through their ARC connections. Speaking of that HDMI input, it's HDMI 2.1 friendly, so 4K, 120 Hz, VRR, ALLM, feel free to connect your game console directly to the Quad control box if you like. And obviously, Sony would prefer if it was a PS5. Look, I can't say enough great things about this system, but perhaps the best endorsement I can give it is that I wish I could give one to so many of my friends and family. My brother, who has nightmarish wireless signal dropouts with all of the soundbar-based surround systems he's tried, the Quad would work and sound better than anything he's tried before. I have several friends that have been wanting better sound systems, but they just can't do the big system thing in their home. The Theater Quad is the perfect solution for them, which, I mean, that brings up the price for me. It's expensive. I wish it cost a little less so that more people could afford to have it. But the thing is, I think Sony has every right to charge as much as they do for this system because it brings that big system sound for which you will pay just as much with a capable receiver, speakers, and subwoofer, but it brings it to folks who will never be able to put a big system in their homes. And it brings that sound to folks who can't put conventional speakers where those conventional speakers need to be to get that kind of sound in the first place. That's where the value of the Theater Quad comes in. Big system sound for folks who otherwise simply could not have it. The Bravia Theater Quad makes home theater dreams come true. Thanks as always for watching, everyone. What do you think of this system? Leave your comments down below. I can't wait to see you there. If you like this video, let us know by clicking that button. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. I will see you on the next one, Bravia 9. And until then, here's 2 other videos I think you might like. Theater!